Shabbat Shalom. I'm Daniel Reifman, and I teach Talmud and Halacha in the summer programs here at Drisha. In contrast to last week's Torah portion, Parashat Ki Tavo, which contains a wealth of mitzvot, this week's portion, Parashat Ki Tavo, contains only two, both of which relate to declarations made by the farmer at various points in the agricultural cycle. The first of these is known as Kriyat Bikurim, the first fruits declaration. At the beginning of the season, the farmer would take the first fruits of the year and bring them to the temple in a procession of great ceremony and fanfare, offer them to the priest, and recite the declaration which begins Arami Oved Avi, familiar to us as one of the central texts of the Passover Haggadah. Even as the farmer is thinking forward to the plentiful harvest that is to come, the ritual of Kriyat Bikurim forces him to look backward, to recall all of Jewish history, and to remember that all he has ultimately comes from God. The second mitzvah in this week's parasha is known as Vidui Ma'aser, the tithes confession. In the time of the temple, there were several different types of tithes. One given to the poor, another designated for the Levites, who had no portion in their own in the land of Israel, and were thus dependent on public support. At the end of the triennial Maaser cycle, the farmer would come forward and testify that he had fulfilled all of his obligations in all their specific requirements regarding the Maaser. Bi'arti HaKodesh min habayit v'gam netativ la'levi v'lager le'atom v'la'almana g'chol mitzvatcha asher tzivitani lo avarti mitzvotecha v'lo shachachti. I have cleared out the consecrated portion from the house. I have given it to the Levite, the stranger, the fatherless, and the widow, just as you commanded me. I have neither transgressed nor neglected any of your commandments. Following this declaration, he would conclude by uttering a prayer for the future. Hashkifa mimon potshecha min hashamayim, uvarech et amcha et Yisrael v'at ha'adama asher natata lanu, kasher nishbata l'avotenu eretz zavat chalav udvash. Look down from your holy abode from heaven, and bless your people Israel in the soil you have given us, a land flowing with milk and honey, as you swore to your fathers. The first word of the farmer's prayer, hashkifa, look down, attracts the attention of the Midrash and the later commentators. The Midrash Tanchuma notes that the word the hashkif, to look down, typically carries a negative connotation. For example, in Parashat Vayera, when the angels leave Abraham's house on their way to Sodom, the Torah states, Vayashkifu al Pnei Sodom. They looked down towards Sodom, of course with the intention to judge and ultimately destroy the city. As the Egyptians chase people of Israel in the passage through the Red Sea, the Torah again uses the term hashkif. Vayashkif al Machanei Mitzrayim, and God looked down on the Egyptian camp, again with the intention to punish them by drowning them in the sea. If so, wonders the Midrash, why would the farmer use this normally negative term in appealing to God to look down favorably upon the people of Israel? In the Midrash Tanchuma, Rabbi Alexandria explains, Gadol kolchan shel ba'alei ma'asrot shavchin et haklala livracha. The power of those who give the tithes is so great that it turns a curse into a blessing. Needless to say, several of the commentators on the Torah note that the Midrash's observation is not strictly accurate. Even aside from this week's parasha, there are a number of other instances of the term hashkif that carry a positive connotation. I believe the Midrash's point can be better appreciated in light of a comment by Yaakov Tzvi Mecklenburg in his commentary Haktav v'Kabbalah. Rav Mecklenburg explains that in contrast to other terms used to describe seeing, such as lirot or the habit, the term hashkif suggests observation with an eye to detail, as when viewing something from above. The reason the term often carries a negative connotation, Rav Mecklenburg suggests, is that attention to detail often reveals flaws that one might otherwise not notice. Based on Rav Mecklenburg's explanation, it seems particularly appropriate that the farmer would use the word hashkif in the context of vidui ma'aser. Confident in his fulfillment of every detail of his ma'aser obligations, the farmer begins his prayer with the term hashkifa, as though to invite God to examine every aspect of his actions. He knows that even when examined in detail, his fulfillment of the mitzvot of Ma'aser will find favor in God's eyes and bring blessing upon the people of Israel. As we approach the high holiday season, we are aware of God's gaze more than any other time during the year. As we stand before Him on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, may we merit to be like the farmer reciting Vidui Ma'aser, confident that all of our actions of the past year have found favor in God's eyes and will bring blessing upon us for the year to come. Shabbat Shalom and Shana Tova.